Culinary Treasure Podcast. I'm Steven Shomler, your host. Joining me today, special co-host, my son, Zac. How you doing, Zac?
I am doing well. Happy to be here.
You rarely sit in on podcasts, but when you do, it's always a lot of fun. Delighted you're here. We are here today hanging out in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is fantastic.
Beautiful.
We are in Skyline Chili, which is an epic, iconic part of the culture of Cincinnati. And joining us is Adam Schact. How you doing, Adam?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Man, I'm so excited to be here at Skyline. We'll tell the story at some point how it shaped my son Zac's childhood. It shaped my childhood, kind of in a weird, fun way. But questions ask everybody on the podcast. Where were you born?
I was born in Amelia. It's a suburb of Cincinnati.
Okay, and where'd you go to high school?
I went to Amelia High School.
And what's the mascot there?
The Barons.
The Barons, okay. And you are currently, you're a district manager.
Yep.
So you oversee roughly 7 stores.
Yep.
How long have you been with Skyline?
I've been with Skyline. It would be 11 years this month, actually.
11 years this month. And what was your first job?
My first job was assistant manager of a restaurant.
Okay, and do you remember the first time that you ever ate Skyline Chili?
I do not, but I remember. I would assume it was when I was very little, when I could eat solid foods. Grew up eating it. Everyone around here does, so you just kind of just I've always eaten it, so you don't really remember when you first ate it.
Yeah, I think some people don't. I mean, I've had a lot of fun, Portland, Oregon's home, and telling people, I'm so excited I'm going to Skyline, and people on the West Coast, most of them are like, what's Skyline? I go, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And they just don't get it. But it's kind of like, you joked you don't remember the first time you had it, because I think it's like as soon as you can eat solid food, I can't remember
pretty much,
now.
Yeah, and now it's a thing, too. Like, you'll see everyone takes their pictures of the time their kid has the first ever Skyline, and it's just them mashing Skyline into their face and stuff. So now that's a new thing to do. So
because it's incredibly woven into the fabric of what it means to be part of Cincinnati.
Right.
So you guys have roughly how many stores in the greater Cincinnati area?
So roughly, I would say somewhere like 85, 90 stores just in the greater Cincinnati area.
And more than 130 stores total.
Yep.
You've got Cincinnati.
Yep.
You've got Kentucky.
Yep.
Even as far as Louisville?
Yep. Louisville, Lexington, and Kentucky, plus Northern Kentucky, obviously. And then you go into Indiana all the way out to Indianapolis. And then we also have 6 stores in Florida.
That's fantastic.
I think it's important to say, I guess, if you're not from Cincinnati, Kentucky and Cincinnati are very, very close. There's a river, and then you're in Kentucky.
Right. Yeah, and you'll laugh because a lot of people, you drive through Kentucky to get to Cincinnati sometimes, even if you live in Ohio.
Like I slept in Kentucky last night.
Right.
But I'm in Cincinnati today.
Right.
Speaking of that, we walked by a Skyline. We got in late, 1 in the morning, awesome. Walked by, and there's a Skyline open late. So the average, someone comes to Cincinnati, and their first time they're visiting, what time does the average Skyline Chili store close?
So most of our stores will close somewhere between 10 and 11. But if you're in a good area, so like in Clifton near University of Cincinnati or Covington near the bar scene, they'll stay open late nights on the weekends to get that group of people that are just out for the evening.
If there's a crowd that's up late, they're going to cater to them and give them the food they want. That's awesome.
And they generally open roughly what time of day?
So usually we open between 10 and 11 in the morning. So we get open for lunch, and then we're obviously open through the day. All
right. And how long has Skyline been around?
So we just celebrated 70 years in October. So it'll be 1949 in October was our first one. So now we're at 70 years. We've been celebrating all year, which has been a lot of fun. We're doing like pop-up parties in the stores, and we've been branding it ourselves that way. That for the whole entire year has been all about the 70.
I love it. And then in 30 years, then you'll have the 100th anniversary.
100, yeah.
And do you have anything like special gear that says like 70 on it? Or
some of us do. There's been a lot of stuff that we have in the stores, just like signage. There's T-shirts, and everyone has a lot of different things going on.
I'm going to get me a Skyline T-shirt.
You have to have a Skyline T-shirt.
I just think it's fantastic. And I was like, people say, what's Skyline? And I'll say, well, I could tell you the story. You need to go watch my show, listen to the podcast. But I got an email the other day. Right now it's Christmas time. People are listening now. It's not Christmas probably when you're listening, but I was so excited to see a Skyline Ugly Christmas sweater.
Yep. Yeah. So the second year doing Skyline Ugly Christmas sweaters. It's just something fun. Obviously, everyone wants one. They sell out like ridiculously fast. So even as those of us that work for Skyline, you have to order it like as soon as it comes out. Otherwise, you're not going to get one.
Okay, I want to talk about the food, but I'm just curious. So you started out as an assistant manager.
Yep.
What did your family say when you? So you had worked in the food industry prior, in dining, prior to applying at Skyline, so that wasn't new to you. But when you told them, because your family's Cincinnati, right?
Right, yeah.
So you told them, hey, I've got a job at Skyline. What was their reaction? What did they think?
First thought was, what do I get free food for? And when do I get my free Skyline? So.
And they were excited that you...
Very much so, yeah. And they would, like, it's funny, you laugh about it, but they would come in and, like, see you at work because because they would get to gather the Skyline and like, well, we can come in to see you, but really they meant they came in to eat. So
I like that. Okay, and so if I'm going to come and work at Skyline, I'm going to learn how to make Skyline Chili. How long does it take? How long is my training?
So your training kind of just depends on the person. We hire you in, we bring you in for your personality, and usually a week or so, we can teach you to make the cheese conies in 3 ways, and you're ready to go.
Okay, and you started out as an assistant manager.
Right.
Then you ran your own store.
Yep.
Now you oversee 7 stores. What's the biggest difference between being a manager of your store and being a general manager of 7 stores?
Mostly it's just the hands-on, the ability to like be in there making the food all the time and talking to everybody and all the guests, because you get a lot of regulars that come in to see you sometimes and your people. So not necessarily being that person anymore is a little different. And it's more about getting everyone else excited and at that level as well.
Got it. And people come into Skyline and they get the same thing all the time. Their servers know them. They bring it to them.
Yep. Yeah. So you have people that come in and they eat the same thing 3-4 times a week. The server will see you walking in the door and they'll have the food at the table ready to go without you even have to say a word. They'll know your name, your kids' names. They'll know it all. Yeah.
What stands out to me is that culture of hospitality.
Right.
So what do you call it?
So we call it Skyline time.
Yes.
So it's just that when you come in, you feel like it's your Skyline. People always say that's my Skyline, which means that's the one they go to. They know the server knows them. And when you come in, you should just feel like you're happy, you're warm, you're comfortable. You don't feel like any pressure for anything.
You're welcomed.
Yeah, you're just welcome, and everyone treats it like you're coming into their house.
I like it. And you guys say it's Skyline time.
Skyline time.
I like that. Okay, now you said something really interesting. You said the cheese conies in the 3 ways. So while I'm here, I sat down and interviewed the people from Northern Row Brewery and Distillery. And when I was talking to him, he was militant. He's like, I had to learn his order. And I was like trying to learn a foreign language for me. He's like, no, I want a 4-way beans dry, or I want coney, mustard, no onions. And I'm like, what? And I'm trying to get him to explain it. And he's like, no, you got to write this down. 4-way beans dry, coney, mustard, no onions. So, okay, first of all, what the heck is a 3-way?
So 3-way is what we sell, probably one of the most things. It's our spaghetti with our Skyline chili. And then we shred our cheese, and then we put a big giant mound of cheese right on top.
Okay, so you've got. Tell me if this sounds familiar, Zach. You've got spaghetti, you've got chili, and you've got cheese.
That's my childhood right there.
So when I was a kid, I don't know how this happened. Grew up in Southern California. I saw a picture of your food, and there was spaghetti, there was chili, and there was cheese, and it just kind of inspired me. Not the best childhood. Did a lot of my own cooking, and I would just have spaghetti. I'd dump a can of chili on it. I would then have some cheese, and that became comfort food. And then that's what I fed Zach.
Yeah, I want to tell my friends back home, I grew up with spaghetti, chili, and cheese, and they made fun of me. I'm not crazy. It's a thing in Cincinnati. People enjoy that, and I'm not the only one in the world who likes chili on spaghetti.
Okay, so that's a 3-way. Is spaghetti, chili, which we'll get to in a second, and your cheese. So what's a 4-way?
So a 4-way, we add onions or beans to it. And then you have what's called a 5-way, which is the spaghetti, chili, onions, and beans, and the cheese on top.
Okay, so that's why Northern Row Distillery, Northern Row Brewery, they're like 4-way beans, because it's 4-way beans or 4-way onions.
Yep.
But 5 ways all of it.
5 ways all of it.
Okay, does anybody I hesitate to say this, but my son Zach loves mustard. Do anyone ever put mustard on the 5-way?
You do get some people that'll get the mustard, so you'll usually put it on top of the spaghetti before we put the chili on top.
It's a thing.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a thing.
I love mustard. It's kind of disgusting how much I love mustard. Another thing I get made fun of for.
Right. So you should definitely try the 3-way with some mustard on the spaghetti, and you'll probably love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, and then we're here in downtown Cincinnati, Skyline Chili.
Yep.
And this is super busy, during lunchtime. And I'm just looking around, and what is this right here?
So that's our special Skyline Chili hot sauce. So yeah, we have Skyline Chili hot sauce. It's on every table. Most people usually put it on their crackers. We bring oyster crackers to the table as soon as you walk in the door. So you put some hot sauce on your cracker and you eat that. And then you either are a hot sauce person or you're not. So some people just cover their food in the hot sauce, and some people won't do it at all.
Okay, now my sweetheart, she likes hot sauce. She likes to eat things so hot she literally sweats.
So then, yeah, she just loaded up there.
Yeah, and I'm a wimp. I cannot do the heat like she can. So how hot is this hot sauce?
I mean, I guess on like a heat level, you would see it's closer to like a Tabasco level.
Okay, so it's not going to kill me.
No, not at all. It's more peppery. But I think it, especially on a cheese coney, I think it really adds a lot of flavor to it. But some people will just cover the crackers is the best. Is you just take the little cracker, a little bit of hot sauce, and pop it in your mouth. We call it a cracker bomb.
It enhances with flavor, but it doesn't burn your mouth.
Right, exactly.
It's awesome.
Okay, so now we got to talk about what the heck is, for those that don't know, because I got my mind around it. I'm excited. I can't wait to enjoy it. But what is Cincinnati chili?
So Cincinnati chili is not what you would say like a traditional chili would be. So obviously it's not not a really like chunky, like we'll say Texas style chili. It's more of long line like a sauce, like a bolognese sauce. So that's why we put it over top of the hot dogs and over top of spaghetti, because it's more like a sauce.
And that's why the four-way with beans, you're adding beans because there's no beans in your chili.
No beans in the chili.
So if you're not from Cincinnati, you haven't grown up here, and you come out to visit, or you're lucky enough to get one of the 6 more coming floors in Florida, just expect more like a sauce.
Right. Yeah.
It's a really cool sauce on your chili.
Yep. Pretty much.
But you can get the beans if you have to have it.
If you want to add beans and onions, you just throw it in there with it.
Okay, so what is a cheese coney?
So a cheese coney is probably something that most people, especially if you get out-of-towners, that are familiar with. So it's the hot dog. Ours are a little smaller. So it's just a hot dog in a bun, and we put mustard, onions, chili, and cheese on top of it.
And you have the hot dogs crafted specifically for you guys.
Yep, specifically made for us.
They're a little smaller, so people. All right, I like that. That's very good. Okay, so what's your preferred? You like a 3-way, a 4-way, a 5-way?
So I usually eat a 3-way and usually a coney. When I have lunch, I eat lunch 3 to 4 times a week in a Skyline. So I usually get the same thing almost every time, and that's been since I can ever remember. So.
And you have chili cheese fries?
Chili cheese fries, yeah. So most of our stores do have the chili cheese fries. So we just take our Skyline chili right on top of the fry. It's like perfect for that because you just eat it with a fork then and just kind of scoop it right up.
There's a bib here.
Yeah.
Well, explain this to me.
So the chili can get a little messy, especially when you're eating it. Obviously, it's covered on top of a plate of spaghetti. It's going to go everywhere. So we have our Skyline Bibs. So your server will come by. They'll tie it on for you, so you don't have to put it on yourself. And it's just to kind of protect you. A lot of people will have it on as they walk out the door. You have to remind them, like, hey, you might want to take your bib off. It becomes a thing when you see, obviously, you can tell out-of-towners is groups of people with their bibs getting pictures. Because then that becomes the icon picture of you being in Cincinnati is that you have your Skyline bib on.
I love it because, I get mocked. I like to change my outfits throughout the day. My wife gives me grief.
All the time.
Hey, man, I got to look good. And I love the idea of a bib. I think this is fantastic. I think it's great. Okay, now, if there's an event happening in Cincinnati,
Skyline is there.
Skyline is there.
100%. So we're at the stadium for the Reds. We're at the zoo. We're at any kind of catering event. We do high school football games. We'll be there selling cheese conies.
Let me tell you, a baseball game with Skyline Chili sounds amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's 100% when you go to a Reds game, you're getting a cheese coney.
I got to come back.
And you said you like the conies?
I do like the conies.
Okay,
yeah.
so I've heard something kind of blows my mind, but the more I think about it, it's like, that is so perfect. You do catering.
Yep.
So people can get Skyline Catering.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And people have Skyline Chili conies at their wedding.
At their wedding receptions. That's like awesome. The thing to do now is we call them a coney bar at the end of the night. So, you've been out the wedding reception hanging out. Now you have your cheese conies as you head out the door. Or a lot of people just have it for the dinner for your guests because it's what you do when you're in Cincinnati.
Where'd the name come from?
So when the Lamborghini's family, when they opened it in Price Hill, actually, when they were doing dishes one day, look out the window, you could see the skyline of Cincinnati, and they thought that was such a great idea for a name of a company, and that's how it started.
Okay, now you mentioned wedding receptions. Yeah. And were you married at the time that you took your job at Skyline?
I was married at the time I took my job at Skyline.
Okay, so did your wife grow up in Cincinnati?
She did not. So I met her in I met her in college. So when we were dating, when she come back down to visit with my family, we went to Skyline. Luckily, she liked it.
Because I suspect, at least for some people in Cincinnati, that's a deal breaker. If you're not Cincinnati, if you're not Skyline, you're out.
Right. Yeah. Because you eat it so much and it's everywhere. So it's kind of weird if you wouldn't like it because it's like, oh, we're going to go anyway. So
so you can, like in Oregon, we have divided households, the Beaver fans or Duck fans. They make these weird flags that have both. Or in Washington State, you've got, Cougar and Husky fans. And I don't think anybody does that with like USC and any other the Pac-12 teams in California. But is it okay to be like a Coney family or a three-way family to have both in the same family?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And usually you get a lot of people that order both. Like I order like a cheese coney and a three-way, so you kind of best of both worlds.
Why
you
make
eat one
a
of
choice
everything
when you can just have
all of it? Yeah.
Okay, so I'm told, I've done some research, there is a right way and a wrong way to eat your three-way.
There is. So we would prefer if you eat it like you would eat a pie. So you'd actually like take your fork and cut into it like a piece of pie, as opposed to like twirling spaghetti like what you would think of when you think of a plate of spaghetti. That way you get all of the flavor all in one bite every single time.
Yeah, and that you, I think, are very gracious. I think that's, now that I know about Skyline time, everyone would be very gracious. But I suspect the fork twirlers, the customers in the store would like give me the stink eye, like you don't twirl your three-way.
And some people always do, but those are the ones you usually see wearing a bib too.
But I don't think it's out of disgust. It's out of disappointment. It's like you're not having the best experience.
Right.
Let me help you. It's a friendly, like, you got to do it the right way because you'll get a better experience out of it.
Because then you get all of the flavor.
You get all the flavor, especially if you're doing a five-way. You get through everything.
All right, I love this. I'm so excited you're here, Adam. I'm delighted that you've come and told our story. I want to eat some of this. I want Zac to have the thing that I've been making that I'm sure will pale in comparison for the first time ever. Let's give it a shot. Let's eat these things that are before us. This is an incredible feast. Okay, so this is the coney.
That's the cheese coney, yep.
The bun. What the heck is going on with that bun?
So we steam buns throughout the day. So we steam them like pretty much almost to order. So it gets that nice softness to it. So then that just kind of holds everything in there for you.
And I love that it's kind of, bite-sized isn't the right word, but you're right. It's a little shorter of a hot dog than you would normally expect, a little shorter of a bun.
It's manageable.
It's manageable. Well, it's manageable, but I could eat like 3 or 4.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people do. You get a lot of people, their order is 3 cheese conies every time they come in, or 4 cheese conies every time they come in.
I would liken it to like a taco. It feels like a taco, like a taco of love that's not, that's like hearty and yummy.
And it's very approachable as far as the size and everything. So I want I hate to admit this, but like 6 of these at home with a good game on.
Oh, yeah, 100%, yeah.
Screw wings, yeah.
Do people get them to go?
Oh, yeah, so carry out. We have a lot of our stores have drive-thrus even, so people come through and they can grab it so you can take it to go. You see people eating in their car, but at the game, when you're at a football game or doing a tailgate, coney's like perfect.
Yeah, this and the Buckeyes, I'd be so happy. Oh my gosh. Now I'm daunted by the spaghetti. Like I had a bite earlier, and cutting it is the part that it's not in a bad way. I'm like, it's so big and beautiful. I don't know how to
because there's so much of it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So this is okay. So you tell everyone what I'm about to take.
So he's taking a bite of what we would call our signature 3-way. So it's our spaghetti with our chili loaded across the top, and then a big giant mound of cheese on top of that. So you usually, when you eat into that, you cut through it like a pie to get all the flavors in there. Some people add beans and onions to it because we don't put beans in our chili to get that little extra pop of flavor.
And I added a little bit of hot sauce. This is ridiculous. This is exactly what I've been striving for the whole time, is when I would take, my poor man's version of Skyline Chili, spaghetti and a can of chili on top and a little bit of cheese. This is fantastic. Okay, Zac, I've been feeding you that nonsense since you were a kid.
Here's what I don't understand, and this is a good thing. I'm eating chili that doesn't have beans, but it's right, and it's the consistency of chili I've grown up with. It's not like sauce is not the right way to put it because it's not like sauce. It's not runny.
It's not runny. No, it's
thick and
thick.
good.
Yep.
But it doesn't need beans to achieve that, which I don't understand how that's possible. My mind is blown, but it's, oh my gosh, it's phenomenal.
So this is what I was trying to feed you
Yeah,
without
you did
knowing
wrong. No offense. My childhood's not ruined, but it's definitely this is far better.
But it paved the way and prepared you for this meal here.
Yeah, we had someone off screen or whatever over there was like, well, I wasn't sure if you'd enjoy it. Absolutely. I don't know how you would not enjoy this. It's phenomenal. Maybe because I grew up with this similar thing, but dang, it's really good.
So it is surreal for me to be sitting here with you, Zac, given that, I ate this as a kid as comfort food, a version of it. I made it for you the whole time thinking someday I want to get to Cincinnati and have it, and here we are having it, watching you enjoy it. It's kind of amazing.
Cheers. We've arrived.
Okay, do people ever order like extra cheese?
So some people do order extra cheese. Usually that's the first thing people say is like, can I get more cheese? So that's literally something that everyone wants to do is more cheese. We even have a spicy cheese. We call it extreme cheese. It's a habanero blend. So people give you a little extra kick to the flavor as well.
There's nothing better than shredded cheese.
Yeah.
And then you make it melted. And it's, melted cheese and shredded cheese are both separately great. Then you combine them.
I think it helps. We shred our cheese every day.
Yeah.
So I think that makes it look, so it's that fresh shred. It's not like it's been sitting there. So it's like you shred it in the morning, ready to go for you every day.
There is something to that, of fresh shredded cheese. That's a real thing.
I love it. All right. Thank you so much, Adam, joining us on the Culinary Treasure Podcast. I love me some Skyline Chili. I'm a huge fan. I'm going to devour the rest of his food. I'm going to get some Skyline Chili gear. It's been great having you, Zac. Great job co-hosting. Thank you so much.
I think it's cool that the place we're at is run by great people that you're awesome, and it makes me feel even better about Skyline Chili.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, we have great people. We hire people.
Pat's great back there.
Yeah,
man.
there's some really good people that have been doing this for a very long time. So it's just nice that it's home for a lot of people. So you have to have the right people here for that.
Yeah, I think I have a better understanding now of what Skyline time means.
Yeah. Great.
It's Skyline time. All right, cheers, everyone.